Hey, I'm Lindsay and I've traveled around the world from Asia to Africa, across Europe and Alaska by myself. These are my top 10 tips for solo travelers. Number 10, bring only what you need. I know you're traveling by yourself, and if it's your first time, you're probably gonna feel like you need to have everything, which leads to a tendency to overpack. When you overpack, you become more of a target because you are dropping all of your things, you have a lot to account for, as opposed to when you keep things small and condensed and in control. If you haven't seen my packing video, I recommend taking a look at that. You never wanna have more than 2 bags as a solo traveler, one that can either go on your back or that you pull, and one that you keep in the front with all of your important things like tech gadgets and passports.
Anything more than this is just too much to manage.
Number 9, triple check your bank knows that you're leaving and have a backup plan if they shut down your card. One time I told my bank twice that I was going to be out of the country, and still, when I got to Paris on my own, the first time I used my card, worked like a charm. Second time, my account had been shut down. When I'm waiting for my flight at that airport, that is a great time for you to give them a call again and make sure that they know that you're going to be out of the country, what countries you're going to, and how long you'll be gone. I recommend having a credit card, 1 or 2 debit cards, and some cash at the very least. Number 8, book your first night in a country in advance. So if you know me, then you know that I love spontaneous travel, but the first night you land in a country after you've gotten off that long haul flight, take it easy on yourself and have a place booked in advance. If you are on any sort of budget, you do not want to rely on taxis or Ubers to get you from the airport to your accommodation. And the reason is typically airports are in the outskirts of town, which means it's gonna cost a lot to get into town, which is most likely where you're staying. An example of this is when I went to Bangkok, I booked my first night in advance, and the entire reason I booked the hostel that I did was because it had high social and staff ratings, which meant I knew I'd meet people who could give me great insight on the place that I had just landed. Plus, they had directions in Thai and in English of how to take the Metro link to the area that I wanted to go, as well as how much it should cost. These are all things you want to know before you touch down for your first night. Number 7, smile and be confident. This especially goes to solo female travelers, which I'm going to make an entire video another time, but it's really important to smile. If you are feeling scared, if you are in a new place and you're trying to get your bearings, the worst thing you could possibly do is look scared or look like a deer in headlights, because people who are around who are trying to prey on tourists who look like that know exactly what's going through your head. So at all times when you are traveling solo, you want to smile. You want to be up straight. You want to be looking around, alert. When you are smiling, you are conveying the fact that you are in control. You are not worried. You are not stressed. You are not out of your element. You are in control of the situation, which is exactly what you need when you're traveling solo. Number 6, have your itinerary, documents, and important addresses saved on your iPhone and on the cloud. So if you're anything like me, the cloud actually means emailed to your mom. And so if I ever lost my passport or needed my flight itinerary, I would just email her and be like, Mom, I need my passport, I lost it. And she would send it back to me. But if you are like super tech savvy Steve Jobs, then you can keep it on the cloud and you can access it from wherever you want. And that works as well. Just make sure you have a way to access things that's not just on your phone or in your bag. Because if it gets stolen or if that gets stolen, you're not gonna know where you're going or what you're doing. Number 5, be flexible and don't plan too much. This goes along with the don't pack too much, and I get it. It's your first time traveling on your own and you feel like everything needs to be regimented because you're freaked out and you want to know exactly where it's gonna be, and your mom wants to know where you're gonna be, and your dad wants to know, everyone wants to know where you're gonna be, and you wanna know where you're gonna be, and it's very stressful, and then you end up making this very like packed itinerary, and if one thing goes wrong, that thing is like a Jenga tower, and there is so much more stress that comes with having a packed schedule than if you just tell people that it's gonna be okay and you're gonna be in these general vicinities and you can just make up your plan as you go along. Once you're in that place and you have a chance to talk to people and understand it a little better, then you can come up with an itinerary. Number 4, don't arrive places at night, and if you do, stay put. Now this is not a safety concern. This is not because bad things happen at night. This is because, well, you get ripped off at night. So if you arrive somewhere in the middle of the night, you don't have as many options. And when you don't have many options, you have to pay for the options that are around, and they're typically the more expensive ones. I hate getting ripped off by taxi cab drivers at the airport, and if you arrive somewhere in the middle of the night, that's what's gonna happen. So what I do and what I did when I landed in the middle of the night in Vietnam was I slept at the airport, and I just found a little chair and I put my stuff there and I slept there for a few hours. I woke up at 6 or 7 a.m. I was able to get in town at a way better price. It's not just taxi cab drivers too. It's like getting to a guest house, checking in. Like sometimes hostels have lockout times. Sometimes guest houses are closed. If you're staying with a local, they're gonna be pissed if you get in at 2 in the morning. So just wait it out, sleep at the airport. It's not that bad. And then wake up the next day and do it that way. Number 3, dress to blend in and don't show off your fancy gadgets. When I travel, I don't use this case. I actually use a solid gray one, which makes my iPhone look like it could be any variety of phone that's this size. I try to keep my camera, which is a Sony a7S, either packed up away or covered by a jacket, and I always wear clothes that are pretty nondescript. It's better when you're traveling to wear low-key things and stand out as little as possible. Number 2, keep an extra careful eye on your stuff. When you're traveling with a friend, you have 2 of you to watch your stuff, but when you're by yourself, it's just you. Thieves and pickpockets know this, and sometimes solo travelers can be a bigger target because of this. If all they have to do is distract you and then be able to make off with your bag, it's a lot easier than when you're with a friend and they have to distract both of you to get a hold of your bag. This means if you ever put down your backpack, if you ever put your purse on a table, just keep physical contact with it. If you have to wrap the strap of your backpack around your ankle, just keep your hand on top of your purse. Do whatever you need to do so if you are looking a different direction, someone can't take your stuff. There are going to be times when you are not able to have control of your possessions. If you go on a bus, sometimes they're going to put it above the bus or under the bus. That's okay. If everybody else seems to be okay with it, then you shouldn't have a huge issue either. Just make sure every single thing of value is on you and not in the bag that gets put under the bus. And number 1, explore and have fun. Solo travel is my favorite kind of travel because it really exposes you to the world and the culture that you're visiting. Traveling with friends and family is great too, but it's through solo travel where I've really learned a lot about myself and the world and had some of my most favorite experiences. Once you get the hang of it and start feeling confident on your own, I think it'll be the way that you like to see the world the best too.